All right, let's do this. Oh, sorry, sunglasses. Hey guys, my name's Jay Wilson. I'm an analytics engineer at Sony PlayStation. And I thought instead of just like showing you pictures of the house, I might make a video so you can kind of get to know who I am, what I'm about, and get a real honest view of the house, if you will. Like, there's nothing worse than moving in some place and you're just like, I've been bamboozled or whatever. Anyway, so let's go do a little tour. I bought the house back in the end of December this past year, so for some reason I decided to keep the for sale sign on the house, but it is not in fact for sale. I do live here, but this is the neighborhood. It's pretty quiet, pretty chill. I'm not gonna lie, I leave my car unlocked a couple nights and haven't had any problems yet. Oh yeah, this is me. I do a lot of the handiwork around my house. I do a lot of the projects in the house. So like the garage is a mess, but you would have off-street parking, one of those spots. And yeah, so welcome to the house. We'll address the elephant in the room. It looks like I party a lot. That is not me. I do not. Once upon a time, I took bartending classes and I was like, oh man, I want to learn how to be a bartender. And then I just started collecting interesting liquors for when I make drinks for friends. And this is the living room. One of the things that I really like about this living room is how it's like a small, intimate space to hang out with your friends, but it's still like, it's private enough from this wall. I just put this wall in this past week. It's private enough where you're like, if you want to interact with people who are in the living room, you can, but if you're just trying to head out the door or just want to do your own thing, there's plenty of like small spaces in the house where you can just ignore people. Which for me, as somewhat of an introvert, was kind of important. This is my favorite room in the house. I call this Cat's Corner. It's the coffee corner. Have a really decent espresso machine. I grind coffee every morning. Ooh, that's something to tell you. I do work from home. And I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, it's got to be super quiet. But yeah, I do work from home, and usually I start in the mornings and I have a good number of meetings. Like, I figure if I keep the door closed and have a good mic, shouldn't be a problem. But if that's a problem for you, that's something to know. I have a hydroponic garden where I'm growing all sorts of foods. I'm very excited about it, which is why I'm spending so much time here. I'm trying to grow jalapenos. We'll see if that actually happens. But a lot of this stuff is so that you can add it to your, food when you're cooking meals. There's a washer dryer combo on the ground floor, which I thought was a pretty sweet move. There's a bigger wash machine down in the basement if you need to like wash blankets or whatever, but for your general like loaded clothes or whatever, that'll work. Here's the bathroom. Right now it's 4 or 5 p.m. I think. So like you can see we get really nice light in here. The bathroom is a little bit small. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend. But it gets the job done. The water gets really hot, good water pressure, blah, 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 all those things. All right, so this is one of the rooms for rent. Yes, there is a mattress already here. It's not a full-size mattress. When you sign the lease, by the time you move in, there will be a queen-size mattress in here. I hate those closets that like aren't super useful, so I did add some storage in there. And isn't it cedar that you put in to protect against moths? Yeah, got that going as well. Also a little table and a mirror. This room over here is still very much a work in progress, but probably by the time you move in, this is all going to be cleared out and finished. I'm just wrapping up some drywall that I'm doing back here and putting in some closet hanging type stuff. But here's another room if you know someone who might be interested. That's going to be coming up. My room is in here. It's about the size as I call that one the princess room, but this room is almost the same size, but it is an absolute disaster. So we are not looking in there. Let's see. Kitchen, I think I've mentioned. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the most fastidious person, but this is about the level of cleanliness that I want to try to keep the kitchen at. I'm working on getting some compost set up, so that's why we've got our little bag of compost on the counter. There is a dishwasher. It works pretty decently. Nothing special. I feel like I shouldn't have to specify, but like when I moved in, there was no dishwasher. Also, there are no knobs in the kitchen, which is yet another thing that I want to finish. Speaking of finishing, this is my garage. I know it looks insane, but these are all of my projects in flight and the wood that goes into them. If you imagine yourself a woodworker or just want someplace where you can do crafty type things, I definitely have that. And then back there, I have a bunch of bike tools, if bike tools are your jam. Or biking, I guess, not the tools so much. All right. So back here, big old patio. Eventually, we'll have some of that furniture I was pointing out, as well as like barbecue and maybe a covered pavilion type thing. But I think this really highlights how much of a work in progress this place is. I still have to put a kind of fence around here for safety and liability reasons, and get a door in there, and the sump pump. I have to work with my contractor to get that finished. But this is a gorgeous space out here. Man, this tree's gorgeous. It's a great space out here, and like I see myself just spending evenings out here once the grill is in and all that. So I think that takes us to the end of the tour. There's my gorgeous girlfriend doing gorgeous girlfriend things. Yeah, I think that takes us to the end of the tour. So yeah, like I said, if you wanted to get a feel for what the house is and who you'd be hanging out with, that's what this video was for. Hope to hear from you. Catch you later.